my most memorable moments with my mother.
That is a beautiful story, TJ. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Next, I'd like to call on one of our newest members, Marcus Ong. Marcus, please introduce yourself to the club.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Makis, a recent member of Global Speakers, and the memory that I have with my mom is always the moments that she's taken care of me at a hospital whenever I fall sick or whenever uh, I had fever. And one time I broke my arms, and remember all the time that she took care of me in the hospital days and nights. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that you broke your arm. That's horrible.
No.
And ladies and gentlemen, my name is Leah. I've been a member of Global Speakers for 3 years now. My mother, like Dorothy's mother, is no longer with us, but my favorite memories of my mother are those moments when one of us would be walking to the bus and one of us would be walking home. And one of us would stop walking the way that they were walking, turn around, and for those few hundred feet, walk with the other person to the bus stop or home, just to have that extra little bit of time. Those are precious memories to me that I'll never, ever forget. For the benefit of those who are new to Toastmasters, the program tonight's agenda is divided into 3 specific sections. There's a prepared speech section where we have 2 speakers who have prepared speeches, and both of them are very talented. There's an impromptu speaking section, and that's known as table topics, and that's going to be coming up a little bit later. And then there's also the evaluation section. Before we can get to the evaluation section, there are roles that people do that provide evaluation for all of us to help us improve and become better speakers. I would like to call on those roles now to please tell us a little bit about what you will be doing. So I'd like to call on Angel first as our grammarian for tonight, if she could tell us just a little bit about what she'll be doing this evening. Angel.
Good evening, Toastmasters and fellow guests. As a grammarian, it is my job to introduce the word of the day and explain my role. So our word of the day is matron, and Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines it as a noun that means the following. First is a married woman, usually marked by dignified maturity or social distinction. Second is a woman who supervises women or children, as in a school or in a police station. And lastly, the chief officer in a women's organization. An example of use of the word in a sentence is society matrons who organize benefits for charity. Also, I will be keeping track of the filler words such as and as, and I will be giving a report at the end of the meeting. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Yay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Angel. Next, I would like to call on our timer for this evening. I just need one moment, please.
Hello, I'm your timer.
Hi, John Morris. Please introduce yourself as role as timer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leah. As your timer tonight, I'll be keeping track of the various times for the speakers, in particular for the prepared speeches, which run from 5 to 7 minutes, green on at 5, yellow on at 6, with red at 7, and clap down at 7 minutes 30 seconds. Also for the table topics, green on at 1 minute, yellow on at 1 minute 30 seconds, with red at 2 minutes, clap down at 2 minutes 30 seconds. I'll also try to keep track of all the other speakers and make a report in the second half. It's very important to speak accurately on time so that you don't speak too long to lose your audience, that you speak long enough to get your message across. Looking forward to seeing you in the second half. Leah?
Thank you very much, John. Very much appreciated. Before we actually get into the prepared speeches, tonight we have a special inspiration from one of our guests who will hopefully very soon become our newest member. Please help me welcome Jazz Mahaz to give an inspiration. Jazz.
Thank you. And with the theme being Mother's Day, I couldn't imagine someone other than my own mother being my inspiration. I have to say, she came to this country at a young age after she got married. and she was an educated woman. But when you come to Canada, they don't necessarily deem your education to be equivalent. My mom quickly realized that in order for me to be successful in school and, you know, in every aspect of my life, that she needed to become somebody that could help me throughout all my journey. So with being educated and coming here, learning a brand new language, not only did she work 2 jobs, she also went to school. And along with doing that, she took care of my grandparents. And along with that, she raised me and my sister. And that's just a thing that moms do. They put everybody above and beyond, like everyone above them. So we'd be the first to eat, and she'd go to bed last, and she'd do her homework and all the housework, all the cooking, the cleaning, being a wife, being a mom, and then being a student of not just, you know, learning English, but becoming a home care nurse, which for her was harder. She could have went on and pursued to be a nurse, but she just took on so many responsibilities and so many roles that she couldn't quite do what she wanted to. And unfortunately for her, she feels like it's too late for her to continue on, which I don't think is the case. So with a little bit of encouragement, she's starting to think about furthering on and doing something bigger. But when she does have those conversations with me, it's all about, I wish that I could have done more so that you could have done more sooner, or I could have helped you faster. And I read a quote a long time ago that a man may work from dusk to dawn, but a woman's work is never done, simply because they do anything and everything and put their children first. And sometimes it's not even moms, like Leah said earlier, it's dads that are filling in the mother's roles, or the sisters that are filling in mother's roles for, you know, the women that are out working and providing for their families because that's what they have to do. So I really appreciate that about my mom. I know most of us can and have probably had the same thing happen to them. So my mom is definitely my inspiration.
That's beautiful. Your mom sounds like an absolute superwoman. That is an incredible story. And thank you so much for sharing that with us, Jazz.
He just needs
Next, I'd like to yeah, no kidding. Maybe a crown too to go with it. She sounds fantastic, but knowing you, she's must be a wonderful woman because she raised a beautiful daughter. So absolutely. Next, to bring a little levity to the meeting, I would like to call on our member with a really big funny bone who has a wicked sense of humor to share with us a joke or two. I would like to now call on TJ Kara to share with us something funny about Mother's Day. TJ.
Okay, well, I didn't know. I totally forgot that it should be theme based, so I just chose random jokes that I found funny online. So I'll share those with us today. A couple is getting ready for bed after a long day's work. I look in the mirror and I see an old man, the husband said. My face is wrinkly and I'm sagging all over. And look at the size of my gut. The wife was silent. Hey, he says, turned to her. Tell me something positive to make me feel better about myself. Well, honey, she said, your eyesight is still good. I have another joke for us, second one. I was in a public toilet and I had just sat down to do that duty when I heard a voice from the next cubicle saying, hey, how are you? Embarrassed, I said, I'm doing fine. The voice said, so what are you up to? I said, just the same as you, I guess, probably. And he said, can I come over? At this point, I was annoyed. I'm like, rather busy right now. Don't think it's a good time. The voice said, Hey, listen, I have to call you back. There's an idiot next door answering all my questions. Back over to you, Leah.
That is a classic. Do you have any more jokes for us, TJ?
That's all I had, unfortunately.
That's
I don't have any off the top
okay.
of my head.
Thank you.
Does anyone else want to share one off the top of their head? Their favorite joke?
That's okay. We can move on. It's all good. Thank you so much. This is the part now where we traditionally have a toast, a cheers. And I don't have a glass with me at this moment in time. It's in the other room, but I propose a toast. And if you do have a glass, whether it's water, tea, coffee, juice, something stronger, please raise your glass to the women who have nurtured us, who have loved us, who have cared for us, who have sacrificed everything for us. We would be nothing without our mothers, and it is with love and honor and duty that we give them the due that they earned. Those women, without them, we wouldn't be here. So I salute our mothers who've raised us to be good people. Cheers. Next, I'd like us to move on to the prepared speech section. Tonight, we are lucky. We have 2 prepared speeches. I'd like to call on the first evaluator to introduce the first speaker. At this point, I'd like to call Nicholas Wang to please introduce our first speaker. Nicholas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tonight, it is my pleasure to evaluate TJ's speech. TJ is a founder, team lead, and a professional real estate consultant with the Vancouver Living team at Keller Williams Van City Realty. He loves what he does and the people he does it with. Plus, he joyfully takes every opportunity he can to give people he knows an inside look into his career as a realtor in the Vancouver housing market. TJ is currently working his presentation mastery pathway, number 3-5, Connect with Storytelling. This project addresses storytelling techniques and descriptive skills to help him make the speech relatable and interesting. The established story can be from his own life or a fiction tale of his own creation. Please note that TJ's speech will be 5 to 7 minutes. Without further ado, please help me welcome TJ Kara. Buyers are liars. Buyers are liars. TJ Kara.
Thank you, Nick. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and most welcome special guests. Pleasure having you here tonight. So it all started off seemingly easy enough. I got a call from my brother and he's like, hey, need to check something real quick. Gives me an address. I put it in to the system. He's like, just what do you think this house or this place is worth? And I'm like, takes me a couple of minutes. I get back to him. I'm like, yeah, it's about, if you were asking me to sell that, I'd say it should be about 580, 570. He's like, okay. I'm like, why, what's up? So he's like, well, my buddy just sold it to another realtor for $490,000. I'm like, what? And so we ended up helping that, my brother's friend, getting out of that deal and essentially earning his trust. And so what came to me as a call from my brother ended up being a referral of his friend. And we ended up selling his place rather easily for what it was actually worth. And as sellers, because him and his girlfriend lived together, as sellers, they were absolutely stellar. And now we're looking forward to the next part where we get to buy them into their new next home. And it turns out that they knew exactly what they wanted, and it almost seemed like it's going to be a slam dunk. Especially they were such good with us as sellers because they listened to everything that we told them to do, did it right on time, even went a few extra steps on some of the things, and really impressed us. And so we're like, okay, awesome. It's going to be great working with these guys as buyers as well. So what they wanted was a rancher style, bungalow style home that they could renovate and live in for a while, and probably tear it down 5 years later and then build a new house. But buyers are liars. They also knew exactly the area that they wanted it in. Anywhere in Pitt Meadows or Maple Ridge, the west side of Maple Ridge, not the east side, and any good neighborhood. But buyers are liars. And they also knew exactly how much they could afford. 1 million to 1.1 million, preferably less if we could get them into a place for less. And it was all doable. But remember, buyers are liars. The first week of showings, start to see a little bit of truth in that. A lot of the feedback we got from the houses that were priced exactly what they had told us was, it's too small. Oh, that's too old. Oh no, that's way too outdated. That's from like the 60s. It's a 50-year-old house. What do you expect? You said you wanted something you could renovate. Buyers are liars. The second week of showings, now we started to look into a little bit more higher end homes for them, stretching their budget. Their first want was to try to keep it low, but we would quickly realize that's not where it was going to happen. But some of these older priced homes, they had mortgage helpers, the higher priced homes on the edge of their top budget. And so I got them to go back to their mortgage broker who had approved them according to what they had told him, and asked him, how much can you approve for if you have a mortgage helper? And that was added another 200,000 to the budget. So that changed our area of focus, which was completely different to what we were looking at to begin with. Why? Because buyers are liars. The third week, we go through some of these houses that are a lot nicer than the ones we've seen before, and they're a lot more spacious, and you could raise a family in them, let's say. But now we started running into other problems where, ooh, I don't like this. The floors are too wavy. Or I don't like the energy of this place. Or do you feel that? There's a nail down there under that floor. I can feel it through my shoes. Really? That's weird. Buyers are liars. Street's too busy. Oh, so you don't want anything on, you don't want any traffic at all? No. Okay, let's make a note of that now. Fourth week, we actually increase our budget now again by $100,000. So now we're running up to the 1.3 to 1.4 range because they got an extra $20,000 from their parents, and that they can put towards a down payment and get approved for more. So now we're only looking at renovated homes because they don't want any home that they can renovate, but they say they do because buyers are liars. What they ended up finding was, we're going to put an offer in on today, is a home that's almost completely done up. It's exactly what they would want to have. It's move-in ready. It's been renovated to the T, and it's nothing like the tear-down bungalow rancher in Maple Ridge that they were looking for. This is actually in Coquitlam. So just goes to show that buyers are liars. And you know, as I mentioned in the beginning, it all started off looking really easy, like it'd be a slam dunk. But the truth is, it's not just these buyers, because these buyers are great. Absolutely love them. They're amazing people, and now we're friends. But that's just the way things go when you're in real estate and you're working with buyers, is they just don't, they think they know what they want, but they don't. And so we like to say that buyers are liars. And the worst part of this all was, I couldn't even fire these guys if I wanted to, because they got referred to me by my brother, and we had sold their house. So we're not going to leave them homeless, right? But buyers are liars, but they make good friends if you give them the time and walk them through that journey that they need to go. And in conclusion, I'd just like to offer some tips to anyone for buying their first home. Is begin your home search online first, and really kind of figure out what you might be wanting and what's in your price range. And then once you've done a little bit of your homework, choose the realtor that you trust the most. And if you need to, interview more than one if you have to, and then get pre-approved, preferably with your realtor's mortgage broker, because the realtors can communicate with them a lot easier and they worked with them before. And then stick to your original plan. Key part there, stick to your original plan and listen to your realtor along the way. Thank you, back over to you.
Thank you so much for that valuable education. And why buyers are liars, TJ. Great storytelling technique that you have. Thank you so much. Our second speaker for tonight is none other than our Division E Director, Dorothy Miller. She will be speaking about the role of a person in a Toastmasters meeting. You may be wondering what in some way or another, and most importantly, from each other. Whether you have never taken the chair role or you have done it hundreds of times, there is always room for growth. Dorothy asks that you keep an open mind and try new ideas. Dorothy joined Toastmasters in 2013, and within the first month was asked to take on the chair's role. Her response was, "Me?" Since then, she has been Sergeant at Arms twice, Vice 2019 district is the last one that we had in real life, and is currently, as literally, Division E Director. Tonight, she'll be speaking from Persuasive Influence Path Level 3, Inspire Your Audience. Mr. Timer, her speech is a 10 to 15 minute speech, so please do green at 10, yellow at 13, and red at 15. The title of her speech is Being the Best Chair You Can Be. Please join me in welcoming distinguished Toastmaster, Dorothy Miller.
Thank you, Leah. And I am delighted to be here tonight. Now, being the best chair that I can be. Now, I'm not talking about the best designed chair, as you can see in the photo. I'm talking about the chairperson's role. Let me just tell you a quick story about the first time that I was asked to be the chair. I had just joined my first Toastmasters club. It was a fairly professional club. There were lots of people that were well-dressed and well-spoken. And yes, I was a little intimidated, as you might recognize that feeling yourself. After I had been there for only a short time, it was less than a month, one of the very experienced Toastmasters came up to me and said, "Dorothy, I'd like you to be the chair next week." Me? You want me to be the chair? I said, I do not know how to do this. I am not qualified. Can you relate to that? Have you ever been asked to do something that you don't feel qualified to do? Well, I tell you, this woman who had asked me was definitely an experienced Toastmaster, because she continued to build me up and tell me about all of the wonderful characteristics that she saw in me. Yeah, right. And I took on the role. I agreed. And you know, when you think about it, how hard can it really be? You've got an agenda, follow the agenda, and you should be okay. Well, since then, I've learned a considerable amount, and let me go back to my PowerPoint, because I'm going to walk through this in a systematic way with you so that we can all relate to each other and also understand what the procedure is. So what are the main duties of the chair? The first one is to be that genial host. Now, do you know what I'm talking about? When you have someone walk into your house that is a guest, you've invited them for dinner or for a party, you want to be the genial host. You want to take their coats, you want to welcome them in, you want to make them feel like this is their home, show them where the washroom is, show them your home and your environment, introduce them to the other people in your home. Are you familiar with that? Sure. We want to make that good first impression. We want to recognize our guests by name here at Toastmasters. That means coming a little bit early, making sure that we know who they are. To use protocol, just like you would welcome a stranger into your home by asking them their name, and it might be Mr. or Mrs., or it might be by first name. In Toastmasters, we have protocol for what we call people. And then to also introduce the other people in the room, as well as any dignitaries that might be present. Now, remember that when we're in Toastmasters, that not every club is exactly the same. Have some of you been to other clubs? I bet you have. I know a number of you have. And each club, although it follows the same system, has little differences. It brings on the personality of the people in that club. So beware of that when you are chair. The next thing we want to remember is that you, the chair, conduct the entire program from start to finish. You're going to go through the meeting roles. You're going to explain things to not only your members, but to our guests. Now, why I want to emphasize this is because the chair's role really is a full 2 hours long or an hour long, however long that meeting is scheduled for, you're on. You've got control and you are the leader of this particular meeting. Next, you'll also be doing the introducing for the different segments throughout the meeting. The first one might be Toastmaster. Now, not all clubs use a Toastmaster. They might use the chair to do the introductions. They might use the evaluators to do some introductions. So remember to be a little flexible depending on which club you are in. Your expectations have to be adjusted when you visit a club. You'll also be introducing the table topics master and any other person that needs an introduction that is not already scheduled for one. Are you with me so far? Have you got the idea? The chair has a great deal of responsibility to keep that moving, flowing, and on time. Speaking on time, have you ever been late for something? I have. I snuck in really quietly. Well, in the virtual world, that's kind of hard to do. Some clubs might have a waiting room. Some clubs might let you in without even noticing, and you would just be another dot on the wall there or on the screen. Remember when you're entering a virtual meeting that you want to have your sound off. You do not want to be walking in to a meeting when the dog is barking, your husband's yelling at you, or maybe the kids are crying. Turn off that microphone so that you can come in quietly. It's really important to remember that when someone else is speaking, you do not want your mic on. Does anyone know what the 4 core values are of Toastmasters International? Well, you can see them right there on your screen. Now, some clubs sometimes start with this. Not all clubs, like I said, it is an individual thing. But our values are integrity, respect, service, and excellence. The chair's role is to uphold these values, especially the one where we are respecting one another. They're all important. Some clubs say that right at the beginning. They go over the Toastmasters core values. You'll notice that today, Leah started with the club mission. Now, every club around the world, and we have clubs in 143 countries, might be 146 now. And they are all using this exact same mission. So I want to thank Leah today for starting with our club mission. This helps us to remember why we're here, what we are working towards. It inspires us because it's fresh in our mind at every meeting. So let's get into some of the nitty-gritty details about what a chair is to do. The chair is responsible for communicating with all of the members before the meeting begins. So several days before, maybe even a week or two, to ensure that all of those meeting roles are filled, so that when we are coming into the meeting, everyone knows what they're doing, our agenda is accurate, and we're ready to go. Occasionally, that's not possible. The chairs, ideally, the chair will be taking care of those things either quietly, or sometimes it might need to be right out in the open here when we're in a virtual meeting. But that is one of your responsibilities. Another one is to prepare the agenda. The agenda is one of the most important things at our meeting. Why? Because as members and as guests, you want to know what's coming up next. It's like a roadmap. Would you go on a road vacation without having a map of where you're going, how to get to your destination? Okay, some of you might be thinking, yeah, sometimes I go on a vacation or on a road trip without a map. Well, Toastmasters isn't one of those. We want to know where we're going. We also want to try to incorporate the theme in our meeting. Now tonight, there was a fabulous job by our chair of leading us into that theme on Mother's Day, asking our members to follow that theme with our introductions and with our humor. But TJ did a great job filling in for that role, even though it wasn't about Mother's Day. There are other activities that might happen in a club, so beware of that. The chair may be responsible for those as well. As I mentioned, some clubs have an additional Toastmaster that does the introductions. So if you're working with a Toastmaster in your meeting, be sure that he or she understands that role. But right now, this club is not using a separate Toastmaster. Now, here's one that can be challenging at times. It's bridging the gaps between the different segments of the meeting. When you'll notice that today, Leah did some great transitions from one section to the next section. My biggest advice for you is to come prepared. Have some transitions ready. You may not use them all, but you'll get more comfortable with being able to use transitions if you write them down and have them handy just in case. So let me give you an example. If we were going from one thing to the next, say a speaker had just finished, I could say something like, TJ, thank you for that inspiring speech, or thank you for that insight into being a realtor and a buyer. That's a transition. We're moving into the next session, and I can do that kind of transition to make it move more smoothly. So it finishes one thing and it takes us to the next. It also requires us careful preparation in order for the meeting to run smoothly. Imagine if you went to someone's house for dinner and they had invited you and you showed up and they hadn't asked you to bring anything, and you arrived and they hadn't even started dinner, but they had already had the dessert out on the counter. A smooth transition requires preparation so that everything falls chronologically so that we can move smoothly from one thing to the next. Now, what about arriving? Did you notice today that our chair, that our team had arrived early? They were taking care of any last minute details, like a fill-in grammarian. Way to go. Check with speakers for any last minute changes. Now, I know firsthand that there were some last minute changes on today's meeting. Great job for Leah and Yuhan for preparing that. Now, one of the things that we would do in a virtual meeting is that we would ensure that the chair was sitting near the front of the stage or the front of the room so that they could have easy access to the lectern. Now, here in our virtual world, the biggest recommendation is to keep your camera on when you're chair, unless someone else is taking over, and to stay focused on the audience. Have you ever been in any kind of meeting when the person that was in charge was busy looking at their phone or reading some documents and not paying attention to what was being said? There is nothing more distracting than your leader not being present. So be present when you are the chair. The chair presides with sincerity, energy, and decisiveness. Leah did a great job with her sincerity and energy today. Could you feel it today? Her voice inflection was allowing me to hear the energy and sincerity of what she was doing. Decisiveness, and this, I have an example of this meeting that I was at the other day. And the person who was filling the role had taken it on at the last minute and wasn't fully prepared. What I noticed was that the leader was apologizing for not being prepared. I want to remind you that your audience doesn't know that you're not prepared unless you give them a clue that you're not prepared. So go with it. If you're not ready, pretend that you are. That's decisiveness. And always, always, the chair leads the applause and closes with the applause because you are what everyone is looking to follow. Be the best chair that you can be. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much for that incredibly educational presentation on how to be an effective and good chair. Very much appreciated. And I know that I've learned a few tips from this. Love the stories. To get those tips and helpful rooms for improvement to help make them even better, stronger speakers than they already are. At this point, I would like to call on our first evaluator to provide us with some feedback for TJ. Please help me welcome Area 40 Director Nicholas Wang.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Buyers are liars. I cannot agree more. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guest, Angelica. It is my pleasure to evaluate TJ's educational and personal speech. There are three highlights that I truly enjoy when I listen to TJ's speech. First of all, that really I got impressed is his comfort level. TJ showed up with a very confident manner. He wears a t-shirt, but in my mind, I thought realtors, they should always present in a very professional way. They should dress up. They should look very serious. But in this case, in TJ's speech, TJ presented in a very relaxed and comfortable way. He didn't use any script. He spoke with his own personal and direct experience, which made his speech very relatable and personable. I also liked TJ's eye contact. His eye contact is very natural. He didn't look up or look down very frequently, which means he knows what he is talking about. I also like TJ used his space very comfortably, and he also tend to move his body and give some interactions with the audience. Secondly, I also appreciate TJ's smooth delivery. His pronunciation is very clear. His vocal projection is also very loud and easy to understand. The choice of his words is very straightforward and conversational. And I believe TJ also have effectively used all the storytelling techniques that are required from his project. Last but not least, I also learned a lot of educational tips from the conclusion of TJ's speech. His tips are very simple and practical because he has those extensive areas of expertise. I feel his tips are very helpful and very easy to implement. However, during the speech, I noticed I only noticed two missing opportunities. I would like to recommend TJ to further consider if that's possible. First, I want to see TJ use more vocal variety to be more dramatic, to be more animated. It's okay because in Toastmasters, you can be a little bit creative to wave the hand more. For example, he mentioned about difficult client. He can be more dramatic and hysterical and improve the vocal variety and be a little bit creative with his opening to ask audience some questions about how to handle difficult client. But overall, I find TJ's speech very memorable, and I look forward to hear in the future he apply more storytelling techniques. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Much, Nicholas. It is amazing to watch one area director giving an evaluation to another area director. And I know that come next contest season, I'll have competition in Nicholas when he competes for the evaluation contest as well. So thank you, Nicholas. Not only am I the chair for tonight's meeting, but I'm also Dorothy Miller's evaluator. Be the best chair you can be. Dorothy, thank you for that great, incredible education session on how to be an effective chair for any Toastmasters meeting. I love that Dorothy's speech opened up with an image of a chair, a rather comfortable looking chair at that. You can tell that she is a distinguished Toastmaster and that her use of visual aids was flawlessly done. I loved the flow of her speech, and I really liked the way she had the analogies to everyday events that take place to show that maybe being a chair isn't actually as daunting as it can be to somebody who'd be taking it on for the first time. I'll go through a couple of points for rooms for improvement. I really don't have much though, Dorothy. That was just incredible. In Dorothy's speech, the one thing that I noticed was that her slides were very well organized, almost stuck to the rule. When you're using PowerPoint to present, there is a 6 word per line, 6 lines per slide max that should be there. And I noticed that that was highly effectively used throughout Dorothy's slides. The one thing that I would have liked to have maybe seen, I noticed that there was a moment within Dorothy's speech where she had a very strong structure. Do not misunderstand me there. And it was very thoroughly, this is this part, this part, this part. But there was a couple of moments beginning or the pre-work going into being a chair for a meeting kind of came up again more while the meeting was towards the end of the meeting. And I would have liked to have seen it flow a little bit stronger, from like segmented more clearly. The one thing that I noticed, and this is something that I would have done myself had I been doing this presentation, and I'm grateful that I wasn't the one doing it, was she had mentioned when she was talking about when we do meet in real life, and she had mentioned in a virtual meeting, and I knew that she meant in real life because that's when the chair needs to sit close to the lectern in order to get up to be able to do the presentations. Small hiccup, but it's something that any of us would have done. My computer has frozen at moments. So throughout Dorothy's speech, I wasn't sure how much there was in the way of hand gestures, but I know towards the end, it was a very effective use of hand gestures going on within her presentation that I really, really liked. Just earlier, maybe my computer had frozen, my internet had frozen, and I didn't quite catch, but then she wasn't moving either. So, but the vocal variety was there. I would not be surprised if within 2 years, we end up seeing Dorothy Miller, Distinguished Toastmaster, as our district director. She is highly organized. This speech shows it beautifully. She knows what she's talking about, and she has some solid tips. And the analogies to being a host at home were absolutely perfect. Dorothy, thank you very much for this speech. I really enjoyed it. Back to myself as chair. All right, at this point, ladies and gentlemen, we've gone through our prepared speeches. We are now going to take a very short break. We're actually behind schedule by about 6 minutes when I looked at the time. So I'm going to call for a small 2-minute break. Mr. Timer, John Morris, can you let me know when 2 minutes is up, please? Yes? No?
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
All right. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. I just couldn't see you. Okay, so let me know. Folks, if you need to have a bathroom break, if you need to grab a drink, please do so and come back in 2 minutes. I will see you shortly. Looking forward to the second half when we do impromptu and our evaluations.
I think probably my iPad problem is the connection. I think
It's okay.
you want me to change to your iPhone?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yes, you're.
We can hear you, Leah and Johan.
I just realized that. I'm like, oh yeah, I turned off the volume, but not the sound. No, I'll just leave it as is. It's okay. It's okay. No. He's trying to make it the best possible for me. So I'm on his iPad at this moment in time. It is what it is.
Yeah, you've frozen quite a few times, and it even tells me that your bandwidth is low.
Oh, does it? Interesting. Yeah, no, this has been a bit, it's had its moments of technological frustration, which I'm sure most of us can relate to on some level or other. Angel, how are you enjoying this so far?
Hey, Leah, did you close all your application? If you are using your iPad, you might want to close all your pre-open pages.
It's not my iPad, it's Johan's.
Oh, because it might happen then slowed you down since the internal memory might not be enough.
Oh, it's a possibility. I'm just gonna hammer through this, but thank you, Catherine. I appreciate that. And hi, Catherine. I saw you pop onto the screen a while ago, but I didn't have a hi.
Hi.
Oh.
Yeah, it happened because I'm using iPad as well. I realized some problem. And even though I use my laptop, if I open lots of application, then the RAM will be slow.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, this is definitely not ideal, but it is what it is, and I'll just. Oh,
Did I freeze it all?
Can you what, Dorothy?
Did I freeze it all? Were there any moments?
It was for me when I was watching, but my computer.
Yeah, it's from your computer.
Oh,
Catherine, what were you saying?
No, you didn't freeze, but
okay.
I believe Leah's device is not that great.
Yeah.
In terms of memory.
No, it's not ideal. No, the sun. Hi guys, I'm populating. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Pardon my nattering.
And do we have someone new with us?
We do, Angel.
Hi.
Leah, this Marcus Ong, was he here earlier?
Marcus?
Or is that Nick?
Still here?
Yep.
Oh yeah, there you are.
Marcus is one of our newest members.
Excellent.
And I'm still waiting for his icebreaker speech, which I keep encouraging him to do.
You know what? Just do it. Be the Nike guy. Just do it.
Yeah.
It's easy. Just tell us about yourself.
It's the easiest speech you'll ever give because you know all the content.
And you don't stop down. That's the beautiful thing about doing it too. It's 4 to 6. I've seen people go 20.
You know, Leah, one of the things that that we have adopted is rather than saying clap down, we say we lead the applause.
Oh, we lead the applause. I like that, actually.
It's very positive. We will lead the applause.
2 minutes is up.
Thank you very much, John. I appreciate that, Mr. Timer. Welcome back to the second half of our meeting. I hope you've all had a good but very short break for this evening. In this part of our meeting, this is where we come into what I call the impromptu speaking section. Also, we will have reports at the end of the meeting. But for the impromptu speaking section, tonight we have one of our more seasoned Toastmaster members leading the way as our table topics master. And I do hope that our guests do consider participating in table topics. If you are interested, please send a private message to Sharon Liu, who will be our table topics master. Please help me welcome Sharon.
Thanks, Chairs. Good evening, Toastmaster members. I will randomly choose the members and also our guests to answer the questions. So the first questions will be for Nick. Are you willing to take the questions? The first question is, what is your favorite piece of advice from your mom?
Thank you, Madam Table Topic Master. To answer this question, on the top of my head, I will say the most important advice I received from my mom is I always need to be very honest around the people, because integrity is very important, and integrity is also one of the 4 core values from Toastmasters. And I remember when I was a child, my mother always told me, never lie to others. Always try your best to keep your promises. And it is important to be honest with your family members, with your coworkers, with people that you even don't know, because it is so important to keep the trust around people. I mean, every people. It is important. And sometimes you realize it is so easy to break the trust or lose someone's trust by not fulfilling your promises. And I believe that is one of the most important advice I received from my mother. Back to you, Madam Table Topic Master.
Thanks, Nick. That's wonderful advice from your mom. Next, I will call on Catherine. The question is, what has your mom taught you about love?
Fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests, I'm Catherine Chuck. What my mom told me, she didn't tell me at all, but she action showed me how the love is. For all my like grandparents and any older relatives, when I was in Hong Kong, my mom's always taking care of them when they need to go to the doctor or if they got sick. My mom's always be with them. That's the caring and the love I saw from her, which is right now, I also told the stories about my mom, even though she's still alive and she's living far away from me. I share her story to my kid. And now I pass down the task to my kid, taking care about the grandparents too. And I'm glad that it's quite successful. This is kind of the heritage from my mom to my to my offsprings. Thanks. Back to you.
Thanks, Catherine. That's a wonderful answer. The next one I would like to ask Leah, our chair. So what's your favorite funny memory of your mom?
Are you sure you don't want to ask one of our guests?
I have 11 questions. I have tons of questions for our guests.
Okay. My mother I grew up Ottawa, Ontario. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, dignitaries in the room, and of course, our most welcome guests. I grew up in Ottawa, Ontario, and my mother loved the sun. She loved Mooney's Bay. And if you've ever been to Ottawa, it's one of 2 beaches in the entire city. Many a summer, she would take me down to Mooney's Bay. And many a summer, I would come home a lobster because I sunburnt and I would fall asleep in the sun. And bless my mother, she was probably having a nap herself, but she didn't sunburn and hurt there. This whitish woman and lobster red kid walking home and taking the bus together. It was not spectacular, but I just remember how happy she was. And it's in those moments that I love the most because she had the most beautiful smile and I miss her every single day. My dad understood her love of the beach. I understood her love of the beach. And 30 years later, I still go to the beach and I think of her when I'm down there. Back to you, Madam Chair, or Madam Table Talks Master.
Thanks, Leah. Next, I would like to ask our guest, Angelica. The question is, what's your mom's favorite song or band? And can you sing for us?
Well, good evening, Toastmasters. My mother passed last 2017, but whenever I miss her, I usually play the song "Sweet Child of Mine." I'm not sure if you're familiar, but it's from Guns N' Roses. So I'm not sure if I can sing it well, but I'm gonna try. So she got smile and it seems to me reminds me of childhood memories. And then I'm not sure of the lyrics anymore, but back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thanks, Angel. That's one of our favorite songs as well. That's wonderful. Thanks. You sing well. Wonderful voice.
Thank
Next,
you.
I would like to ask our another guest, Marcus. What do you love most about your mom?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. What I love about my mom is the unconditional love that she gives me, and she continues to give me even though when I'm far apart from her, and then she's also living far apart from me right now. And all the conditional love I used to think about when she used to bring me all the way to tuition or to drawing or to art classes when I was young, and the love that she taught me to give to others or to give to people around me is the memory that I have with my mom. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thanks, Marcus. That's a moving answer. Another questions I would like to ask our guest, Dorothy. The question is, what physical feature do you share with your mom?
That is so funny. What physical feature do I share with my mom? Well, I wish I had a picture right here with me because I look so much like my mom. It's ridiculous. I have my mom's face. I have my mom's body. I have her physique. And when I was younger, when I was a teenager, even my friends would say, "Oh, you look so much like your mom." Has anyone ever said that to you? Okay, guys, has anyone said that to you about looking like your father? It is not what you want to hear when you are young. And I suppose some people don't even like it when they're older. But the older I get, the more I believe that it is a compliment. And I know for me, not only do I look like her, but quite often I sound like her. Do any of you repeat some of the things that your parents used to say? Like those corny expressions or, oh, I'm trying to think of one right off the top of my head. Oh, gosh, golly, my mom used to say. And I find that spewing out of my mouth, it makes me sound like a matron, for heaven's sakes. Well, my mom is passed away, and I am delighted to say that I look like my mom because it makes me feel that she is with me every moment of every day in everything that I do. And I am so grateful for the time that I had with her. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thanks,
Toastmaster.
I still have one last question, I guess. Then I would like to ask TJ. The next questions for you is what traits do your mom and children? Oh, you don't have a children. So what do you and your mom usually do together? The question is.
Thank you, Sharon. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. So I'm the type to believe that women need to talk a lot more than guys. And I give my mom the opportunity to do that. I'm actually an introvert. So for me, it's easy to not talk much. And my mom's the complete opposite. So talking about similarities and dissimilarities, we're completely, like, we look a lot alike, you know, like her and I together, everyone says like, oh my God, like you guys look so much alike. Like we could so easily tell that that's your son. But the difference lies in how we behave. And she's a total extrovert. She loves talking and being around people, whereas I'm more shy and reserved. So my dad is more like me, but I don't think he's as understanding as me and as considerate. So I have to fill in that void, I think, otherwise she'd probably go crazy. And so I let her talk about work. I let her talk about my other siblings. I let her talk about my dad. I let her talk about my grandparents, whatever she wants to talk about. Open ears. And I try to make some time in my day for it. Sometimes I can be a little bit abrupt, but when I'm focused on something or when she interrupts when I'm doing something, but I always just, take a deep breath and be like, you know what, she needs to get her word count in for the day. It's like a Word document. If it doesn't hit that criteria, then it's not a properly formed day for her. So that's a quality time that I spend with my mom, is listening to her talk.
Thanks, TJ. That's wonderful. Now I finished all the questions, and thanks all for your participations. I would like to welcome Catherine and TJ to do the table topic evaluations. Let's welcome them.
So TJ, do you want to do the odds or do you want to do the even?
So you're the odd and then I'll do the even.
But I'm the second one. And you're the seventh. I think I do the. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. For the first speaker, Nick, what is the advice from the mom? When he answered the question, he answered that right away, and he cohesive with the Toastmasters motto that we like it the most. Since we are in a Toastmasters club, we would like to do some promotion as well. Integrity is one of the key component of the Toastmasters, and is the key for most of the, I would say, most of the human being that we would like to have. And I like his expression, and also kind of right on all the positioning about the virtual meeting. The points of improvement is maybe he could improve on some pace, since we have quite lots of continuous sentences, but we might need some time to stop and think about that. The third one is Leah. Leah, from Leah's speech, we knew about that Ottawa and Manitoba fall in two different time zones, and the lobsters and the beach, which caused her to have some burns. When I heard that, I felt she had a great memory with her mom. The fifth one is Marcus. Marcus, he told us about the love, the unconditional love of moms. In Canada, I believe most of us are immigrants. So I feel Marcus' mom has pouring lots of love when he was young, brought him to the arts class, and it will be a lifetime memory of how your mom treats you and how you can pass it down to your kid. The last one is TJ. TJ, you are a very good listener to your mom. And it is the lifetime skill for you, for your future family as well. I don't think you are an introvert. Actually, I like how you process on your speech, which taught us about listening skill is very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. So I'll be evaluating the even speakers, and I'll begin with Catherine because she was number 2. Her question was, what has your mother taught you about love? I appreciated how Catherine greeted the audience, followed proper Toastmasters protocol. She also repeated the question just in case someone missed it. I know I had missed one of the questions, and then when the speaker repeated it, well, then I got clear on what the question was. So that it's just a benefit, even not just to yourself, but to the other audience members as well. She put a little spin on the question, and she said that it's not what she told me, it's what she showed me, because actions speak louder than words. You can ask Sean Goldberg. I'm sure he'll agree with that one. She showed a lot of emotion and energy and excitement, especially when she was talking about her kids, which is very contagious. It's a great way to enroll your audience in what you're talking about. When you're excited about it, they're more likely to get excited about it as well. And she shared a multi-generational tradition of taking care of your older generation that I think is very relatable. And she knew her audience well, because I think a lot of the members in this club, her audience could relate to that principle. And then she handed it back to the Toastmaster as well, using proper protocol. One thing that I have to think of off the top of my head, what Catherine could improve, because I don't have anything. No, I couldn't find anything during her speech. So you did a great job. Yeah, sorry, there's nothing I have for you to improve there. Angel was our 4th speaker, and her topic was, what's your mom's favorite song or band? She had a great sense of humor, and right away, for me, I wouldn't I'd probably spend a minute and a half just thinking about an answer to that question, and she got it right away. So she was quick to the bit there, and then she could have gone very emotional and into like a more vulnerable side of things because her mother passed away, but she actually kept it really light and lighthearted and a little bit more cheery, which is perfectly fine. Just know that there's different emotions you can play on depending on what emotions come up inside you. So it's insightful to see that that's how Angelica, that's the first thing that came to her mind. Her energy was great, and that I'm not clear on my note there. I think her energy was great, and that's what caused us to participate a little bit more in her speech, because it was enthusiastic and high energy. Dorothy's speech, what physical feature do you share with your mother? She had a great reaction. I think she laughed out loud a little bit there, so she couldn't contain her burst of laughter, which is also is good to watch for as an audience, because you think now that the speaker is speaking more candidly, they're not so much in their head, they're speaking more off the cuff and from their heart, which it seemed like Dorothy did. She asked and engaged the audience with relatable questions as well. So knowing your audience, I think, played into that, in that we could relate to those same sorts of things with our mothers as well. So she asked specific questions that were appropriate. She also gave a specific example. She managed to pull an example from the past that her mother used to say, oh gosh, geez, or jolly, or something like that. And so she was able to do a little bit of an impersonation and add to the vocal variety, which keeps the speech more engaging. One recommendation I noticed that because I think her reaction to the question was so strong, she forgot to actually acknowledge the audience when she took the mic. But other than that, she took it from she went the really cheerful, like kind of similar to Angela, where she took the cheerful and fun path instead of being vulnerable and emotional about it. But she made a little bit of a transition into both. Thank you.
Thank you very much to both of our table topics evaluators tonight and to our table topics master for giving great feedback and creating some interesting questions to ask in memory and in honor of our mothers. That concludes our speaking portion of the meeting. Both our prepared speech section is done and our impromptu speaking is done. At this point in the meeting, we are now moving forward into the reports section of the overall meeting. And this report section is going to be super special because it starts with our special guest, Angel Reyes, as our grammarian. Angel, please tell us, how did we do with our ums and ahs and filler words and words of the day? Please help me welcome Angel.
Hi, good evening again, Toastmasters. So I'm going to be reporting the filler counts. So for Leia, we actually heard one and one so. And then for Sharon, we heard two as well as Marcus, we have two as well. For Catherine, we actually heard 7 and 1 ah. For TJ, 4 1 so, and 2 instances of saying you know. And then for Jazz, I know she's not here, but she mentioned 2 as well during her speech. For Dorothy, I would like to commend she had actually used the word of the day matron once, and then we also heard 1 and 1 you know during her speech. So back to you, Madam Chair.
That was fantastic. For somebody who's never taken the role before, you did a great job, Angel. Thank you so much. So now that we've had our grammarian test her listening skills, now it's time to test everybody else's listening skills. And this is my favorite portion of the meeting. I'd now like to call on our quizzer to tell us a little bit about what he'll be doing in his role as a quizzer. Please help me welcome Yuhan Chen.
So, thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening, members. Most welcome guests, Nicholas, Dorothy, and Angelica. So as a quizzer, I will ask a few random questions related to what happened in the past 1.5 hours during the meeting. So I would like to unmute everybody. Please unmute yourself and don't be shy to shout at me if you know the answer. This is the only time you can interrupt me. This is the only time you can interrupt the presenter during the whole meeting. So please don't waste this opportunity. So the first question is, whose members' mother has has a story about asparagus?
Angel.
No, it's Jazz.
Jazz. Oh, sorry, Jazz.
And the second question.
I couldn't answer. That'd be cheating.
Okay. What are the core values of Toastmaster? Yeah, for
integrity, service, respect, excellence.
And what's the favorite place Leah's mom like to go?
Oh, the beach. What was the name of the beach?
Okay.
In Manitoba.
The next question, how many table topic speakers we have today?
7.
And who did not participate in table topic today?
You have
Marcus.
No, Marcus participated.
Oh, he did?
You
John.
Oh,
John
John.
and Yuhan.
Yeah, that's right. I'm hiding. And who is the only member using word of the day today?
Dorothy.
And what is the word of the day?
Matron.
Okay, I think my time is up, and back to Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Quizzer, for testing our listening skills this evening. Next, I'd like to know, how did we do with time? So I would like to call on our timer, John Morris, to give a report on how did we do. Please help me welcome John.
Thank you very much, Leah. I kept track of most of the people for times. Our introduction described the program and welcome guests by Leah, 1 minute 40 seconds at the beginning of the meeting. Our chairperson, Leah, doing round table introduction, 8 minutes and 19 seconds. Our grammarian, Angelica, 1 minute and 2 seconds in the first half. Our timer myself, I didn't get, but our inspirator Jazz, 2 minutes 56 seconds. Joke Master TJ, 1 minute 38 seconds. Our first evaluator Nicholas Wang, 1 minute 20 seconds. And our first speaker TJ, 7 minutes and 11 seconds. Our chair Leah points about next speech and introduces the speaker, 1 minute 44 seconds. Our second speaker, Dorothy Miller, almost right on at 15 minutes, 14 minutes and 59 seconds. And our first evaluator, Nicholas, for speaker number one, Leah, speaker number one, TJ, 3 minutes, 35 seconds. Our second evaluator, Leah, for Dorothy Miller, 2 minutes, 55 seconds. We took 3 minutes and 45 seconds for a comfort break and reconvened. Sergeant at Arms Leah gave 30 minutes, 38 seconds to reconvene the meeting. Then we went into table topics. Our table topic speakers, Nick, 1 minute 28 seconds. Catherine, 1 minute 19 seconds. Leah, 1 minute right on. Angelica, 43 seconds. Marcus, 42 seconds. Dorothy, 1 minute 35 seconds. And TJ, 1 minute 31 seconds. Our two table topics evaluators, Catherine for the odd, 3 minutes right on. TJ for the even, 4 minutes and 13 seconds. And just a few more after that, our grammarian Angelica giving the report of the second half, 49 seconds, and our quizzer Yuhan, 2 minutes and 19 seconds. So everybody kept pretty good time, and I'd like to return the floor back to Leah.
Thank you very much, John, as our timer. That was a thorough report. And I think everybody should give themselves a hand because the timing was great overall for everybody. Thank you for that, John. Next, to let us know how the roles that do not have an evaluation did overall in the meeting, I'd like to call on our general evaluator to tell us how did we do. So please help me welcome Yuhan Chen as general evaluator for tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Leah, and fellow members, and welcome guests. Before I start, I would like to share a poll. So for member and guests, you can choose the best speaker, best evaluator, and best table topic speakers for today. And during my evaluation, general evaluation. So it's my honor to be a general evaluator. I will start with the chairperson, Leah. I appreciate her did a lot of pre-meeting work for this meeting. I know, but if the member or guest didn't notice how much work she had put on during the past weekend, I know Leah sent out a lot of personal email to different members and guests, even about their roles and responsibility. That's why tonight we have a quite very smooth meeting. I think that's thanks for the pre-meeting preparation by the meeting chair. And she did an excellent job at greeting the guest and make sure the guests feel comfortable. And next one is our guest as well as our grammarian. I would like to say thank you for stepping up to take on this role as the first time guest. And I cannot tell that it is your first time here. I feel you are the veteran Toastmaster. You know how to do the job of grammarian, and you are very charming, and I can feel your energy. Even just through the screen, I can feel you are very energetic. So I think we would love to see you come back again. And next, we have two evaluators. The first evaluator, Nicholas. I like he put at the beginning of his evaluation, he put his evaluation in 3 parts. So the structure is great. So it's, well, for the people, easy to follow his logic. And specifically, I like Nicholas. He used specific example on how to improve for the speaker. I think it's not easy to bring out the real example in such short time. I think Nicholas have pretty good quick wit. I think he's pretty smart. He can always bring out a kind of some examples for the speaker to work on instead of just providing some general idea. So I think that's one thing I also want to learn. The second evaluator, Leah, took on the second duty of the meeting. I think her evaluation has great structure and lots of good points. As usual, I think she has had one evaluation contest before. One suggestion, I think when she get excited, she speak a little bit too fast. And especially she has a lot of good suggestion and contents. So by slowing down, people can capture, observe all those good points. Move on to table topic master. I think Sharon chose appropriate topic and related to Mother's Day. And I think she kind of purposely chose the right person to answer those questions. And what couple of suggestions, I think Sharon could spend a few more minutes at the beginning to explain why table topic is important. And also check with the first-time guest if they want to participate. Also, the choice of the speaker, I think also Sharon could ask those who hasn't spoken much, those person to speak first. And overall, she holds a pretty deep, appropriate and entertaining table topic. We have two table topic evaluator. First, Catherine. I think she went over all the speakers, and she was quite attentive and great smile. One suggestion, I think she could learn from Nicholas, could provide a few the specific examples for the speaker to improve, and you can demonstrate how to speak better by providing the real example. For TJ, even number evaluator, I think TJ is always captured most of the speaker's point, and his suggestion is always very get to the point. I have no further suggestion for TJ's evaluation. So that concludes my general evaluation.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator. I would now like to call back, but this time as club president, he who was just General Evaluator, for an awards ceremony. Please help me welcome our club president for 2021-2022, Yuhan Chen. Yay!
Yeah, could you move on to guest comment first? I need to prepare the certificate.
Okay, sure, no problem if you need to prepare the certificates. At the end of the meeting, we like to ask our guests for their thoughts about how the meeting went. It's a chance to share with us your first impressions or second impressions for some people. I'd like to start by asking our Division E Director, Dorothy Miller, what did you think of tonight's meeting? Dorothy Miller.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, it's always an honor and a privilege to visit other clubs. I find that I always learn something new and I'm inspired. It makes me want to visit more clubs. Today, although your numbers are not high, everyone was energetic, everyone was involved and taking responsibility for ensuring that the meeting ran smoothly. It's my pleasure to be here and I look forward to visiting again. Back to you.
Thank you very much for those wonderful words, Dorothy. Next, I would like to call on Area 40 Director, Nicholas Wang. Nicholas, what did you think of tonight's meeting?
Thank you, Madam Chair. My first impression toward tonight's meeting is very, very positive. I believe tonight, the club's meeting demonstrates a high level of teamwork and leadership skills, and lots of dedication among all the members and the club executives. And as Dorothy mentioned, I agree that the meeting is full of positive energy and everyone has a chance to participate extensively. And I just want to say thank you for inviting me tonight and I look forward to visiting this special club again. Back to you, Leah.
Oh, thank you, Nicholas. You are welcome back anytime you want to come back, Nicholas. We always look forward to having you with us. And next, I'd like to call on our very special guest, who is also a grammarian, Angel Reyes. Please let us know, what were your thoughts of tonight's meeting as the first time Toastmaster? Angel.
Thank you. So sorry, I was really anxious when before attending this session, but I was just so happy when I met you guys that you actually made to a point that I feel comfortable, even if it is just my first time. And the whole meeting was really interactive, and I like how I've actually learned a lot in terms of how storytelling works and the way that Dorothy actually presented her speech. Aside from being educational, I love how you guys are actually giving out constructive criticisms. I mean, you are all distinguished Toastmasters already, right? But still, you are really open to that constructive criticisms that actually that would actually help each and everyone improve more on this area. So thank you very much. It is a privilege to be here.
Angel, you are welcome to come back anytime you like. We would love to have you back. You have a beautiful smile and you shine on screen. It is so nice to see. At this point, I wonder if there are any club announcements or if our club president is ready with his presentation for the winners yet. Mr. Club President, are you ready?
Yes, you're right.
Please let me welcome back you.
So good evening, members and guests. So thank you for everybody for the quick voting for the 3 awards. So I would like to share with you for tonight's Best Speaker Award goes to Dorothy Miller.
Yay!
So congratulations, Dorothy. The second award is the Best Evaluator Award. Goes to Nicholas.
Good job, Nick.
And next award is quite competitive. We have 7 tabletop speakers. So I would like to congratulate Dorothy Miller again to be the best tabletop speaker. And we also have another award I would like to present to one of our members who just complete her Visionary Communication Level 2. Please help me to congratulate our member, Catherine Chuck, for completing Level 2 of Visionary Communication.
Woo!
Yay!
Way to go.
So congratulations. So I will encourage other members work on your project so you can finish your level 1, level 2, or level 3, even level 5 very soon. So please sign up the speech on Easy Speak or just send a message to me. Let me know when you are ready to give your next speech. And okay, I would also like to make a couple of quick announcements that today is the first week in May. So in the month of May, the club will prepare to have the club election. The club election will elect the incoming club officers for 2021 to 2022. So those new club officers will start their term from July 1st, 2021. And so right now I would like to ask if you want to ask you to think about those club officer positions. So I think we are planning to have the club officer election by the end of this month. But you can start thinking about those roles. I will send out the duty of each role to all members, so to help you to get familiar with those roles, so you can make the best decision to see which role attract you the most. Since we only have 10, 11 members right now, so I think pretty much every member need to take on a role. And since I will be an immediate past president, I will not take on any of those 7 roles. So it's opportunities up to all the members. And I think that's my only announcement. Does anyone have any other announcement?
So I'll just say, let's get together for a screenshot if you guys don't mind. So today's Mother's Day. That always tells me about love from my mom. So how about we all do that heart symbol, and I'll take a screenshot. Smile. Let your mom knows how much. Let your mom know how much you love her. Fortunately, I'm gonna be taking my finger off, so I
Hang
can.
on, don't take it off yet. How do you do that? Oh,
This. There you go.
there we go.
Okay. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Look at the camera. Okay. Awesome. Good job, guys.
Nice. Great PR.
Angel, Johan, and I will be staying behind if you have any questions for us. And yeah, if you'd like to become a member of the club, depending on what you're looking for.
Well done, Marcus.
Thank you.
So I've seen the meeting adjourned right now.
Where's the gavel?
Yeah, grab.
I think Marcus actually has something to tell us. Marcus,
Oh, yeah, Leah.
your thesis.
It went okay. I'm still in the process of getting a credential from the university. So, and then I'll proceed with work permit because I'm now studying as an international student here. So I'll have to do all the application for work permit before my study permit expires.
Congratulations on defending your thesis.
Congratulations.
Where is home, Marcus?
I'm Malaysia. I come from Malaysia.
Your English is impeccable.
No, thank you. Still lots to learn from all of you, distinguished fellow Toastmasters. Yes, that's